It is Thursday on the happy hour. That means our friend and our legal expert, Steve Moskowitz. I think it's 888 tax deal. Is that the? I was watching the Giants game and your ads came up like.
Good. I'm glad you were watching.
Once or twice today. John Tavares, a young star with the New York Islanders, is going to be a free agent, and the teams can sign him on Saturday when the calendar turns to July the 1st. The Sharks are in play for him. So are the Dallas Stars, Tampa Bay Lightning, Boston Bruins, the existing team, the Islanders, the Sharks, and a team out of the country, the Toronto Maple Leafs. So you've enlightened us, in past visits about California state tax, but take us through, how much more earning power he could have if he goes to, say, Dallas and Tampa Bay, two states that have zero state income tax. And then what happens if he signs out of the country and he's in Toronto, Ontario, Canada? How does that work?
Not only does he avoid the 13+% in California, then he gets a nicer house for less money. So he has to put up with that, too. And what happens is, if you go outside the United States, then what's very important is you're still stuck paying federal taxes because citizens are stuck paying taxes on worldwide income. If you're a green card holder, there's one exception called closer connection where sometimes you get out of paying the American taxes on the foreign income. And then what happens is he says, okay, he also has something called the foreign earned income credit. When you go overseas, the first $100,000 you earn is free of federal taxes. And the other thing you want to make sure that you do is break ties with the state, because if you, say, came from California or going to Canada, the state might say, oh, you're just there temporarily, so you still have to pay to California because that's your permanent home. So we'll make very, very sure you break all ties with California. We do that all the time.
We obviously know with San Jose, California, not only is it the state tax that's really high at 13%, it is a cost of living that's high.
Exactly.
Islanders, obviously, in New York, it's over 8% state tax. Their cost of living very high. But the Maple Leafs have also the Canada-Ontario tax, 53%. So this is saying he would pay $36.5 million in income taxes to go.
But then you have a situation where you look at other benefits. Now, at his income level, he's not concerned with, free medical care. He can go ahead and pay for it. But that's the argument they make in the higher tax jurisdictions, that you have free medical, so you're getting more. And again, the more money you make, the less important that is to you.
The other thing that Canadian players going to play in Canada can do is they can take half their salary. And I weirdly enough, I read up on this.
There's no greater joy in life than
defect on us, Ray. Ray going to Canada?
Yeah. Where are you going?
Help with the taxes?
I'd rather eat my own eyes. But what you can do is you can take half your salary and put it into a retirement fund that greatly mitigates taxes in the two highest provinces, which would be Quebec, which would take care of Montreal, and Ontario, which would take care of
I'm impressed, very good, because here in the States there's 24 different types of pensions, and we have clients that can literally put away millions of dollars. And the great thing about a pension is not only do you get a tax deduction, if you're in the top tax bracket, you're talking about it only cost you half because the other half is funded by the taxes, but also cash flow, because unlike everything else where you have to have the payment made by December 31st of year one, you're going ahead and you don't have to make the payment until the time of filing return plus extension of year two, which gets you about 3/4 of the way into year two. And under the ERISA laws, they're essentially exempt from lawsuits. And case in point, look at O.J. Simpson. He's kept all his pension even though he owes tens of millions in judgments.
And the other thing, and you said this yourself, is that players usually aren't sort of put off. If they want to play in California to make enough money, the taxes are not going to be that much of an issue.
Oh, not at all, because what happens in business, it's rarely a question of yes or no, it's how much. So if I was representing somebody that was going to move from Texas to California, I'd say, okay, look, it's not the gross, it's the net. You want to play in California, you have to give them more, so his take-home would be at least as good, if not better, than if he's home in Texas.
Obviously, that can affect, though, teams and their ability then to field a better roster in terms of the salary cap and all that. Now, the other question is...
That's why you need a credit line.
The other question is Trump and his new tax cut and jobs policy. How does that maybe deter or affect a player's decision in terms of coming to, say, California?
It's not the players, because essentially the winners in the tax law are the business owners and the real estate investors. So as an employee,
they can't write things off, right?
Exactly. All the things that I've been talking about in seminars about how you can save all these money. Business owners and real estate investors, not employees.
We all know California's got the highest tax rate at 13.3. Is New York State the second highest at 8.82?
Yes, they are, and that's many, many years ago. I moved from New York City to California, so I was used to it, but it's amazing in other jurisdictions. They can't believe what the houses cost here, the traffic, the taxes. It's a different life.
All but 2
But a
years
good
of my
life.
life I've lived in either California or New York State.
Well, I know, Ray. I know you want Tavares. It's not looking good for the Sharks.
I don't
if you're
care.
considering taxes.
Yeah, that's his
coming up
problem.
next, Jameis Winston suspended 3 games by the NFL. We'll tell you why after the break.